Hi, Mr. Lee. I'm Aaron. Today I'm going to talk about something about the preceding way. So here we have a function, and there's a point P, A, F, A, and there's a point Q. Q is here. Because it's preceding, so the Q's x value and y value is supposed to smaller than P. So if A is AFA and Q is A plus H, FA plus H, then the edge here, it's supposed to be smaller than 0, which means the edge here is a negative number. Also the edge here means the distance between point Q and point P. So if the edge is smaller than 0, then this is going to be a preceding way, and if it's a positive number, which means it's going to be bigger than 0, so it's going to be a following way. So here we have this. This is the secant of PQ point, which is changing y over changing x. Here is a changing x, a plus h minus a, and this is changing y, fa plus h minus fa, and finally we get this. But how we get this? So let's look at that. So this is the secant of PQ point, and here is the tangent of point P. So let's see, when the h value is a negative number, here, if we change the h value, make it approaching to 0, we can see that the point Q is approaching to point P, and here we can also see these two lines, the secant line and the tangent line, they are getting closer, or they are getting similar, they are approaching. So which means when h value is approaching to 0, the secant value is going to approaching the tangent value. So that's how we get the slope of tangent. So if the h value is approaching to 0, this secant is going to approaching to the slope of tangent. So this is how we get the general formula. But this one is not going to work for every function. So if we look at this one, here's what we have: point A and point B, and we thought this function fx equals to x power 2 over 3. This function do not have RC when point A equals when point A is 0, 0. So here AFA and A is 0. So we got a point B. So if here we assume the point B is A plus H, FA plus H, and H here is bigger than 0, which means it's a positive number. So here we have the tangent like this. So if we take a look at this m value, m means the slope. If we want to have a IRC, so the preceding and following, they're supposed to approaching to the same number. So if we look at the following first, if we change the x value, make it approaching to 0, we can see the m value here, it is also getting bigger. Yeah, let's see, it's 0.4 when h equals to 10, but when it's approaching to 0, it's 0.9. So which means when h is a positive number, it's going to approaching to the positive infinity. So let's see, what if h is a negative number? Here is when h is a negative number. So let's take a look at the m value again. If we make it approaching to 0, it's going to be getting smaller. So here it's a negative 0.55, and if we make it approaching to 0, it's going to be it's going to be a make it approaching to 0. It's going to be a 0.79. It's getting smaller, which means it is going to the negative infinity. So when h is negative number, it's going to negative infinity. When it's a positive number, it's going to the positive infinity. We can see these two, they do not, these two value didn't go approaching to the same number, so we can say this function, it do not have IRC.